English learners, and a very warm welcome back to Super English Talks. I'm Sarah, and I am absolutely delighted to be your host today for what promises to be an incredibly insightful and highly rewarding session for your advanced English listening skills. If your goal is to truly master the intricacies of spoken English, to expand your vocabulary with advanced expressions, and to finally achieve that seamless fluency that allows you to confidently navigate any conversation, then you have arrived at the perfect destination. This isn't just another listening practice. It's an immersive experience designed in a podcast-style format where you will listen to engaging conversations through my detailed descriptions. Of course, delve into real-life discussions and experience immersive storytelling that will collectively train your ears to understand fast, natural English with unparalleled ease. Whether your immediate objective is to excel in a high-stakes English exam, be it IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge C1, or CAE, or your broader aspiration is simply to significantly elevate your English listening and speaking capabilities for everyday interactions and professional environments, this podcast is meticulously crafted with you in mind. We'll be focusing on advanced vocabulary and expressions, honing your understanding of natural pronunciation and intonation, and ultimately building that crucial confidence in your English speaking. So, make yourselves comfortable. Perhaps grab a notebook and pen, and let's embark on this intensive yet highly beneficial linguistic journey. Get ready to truly listen, to absorb, and to transform your English proficiency. So, what exactly constitutes C1 level advanced English listening practice, especially when our aim is to understand fast, natural English? It's about moving beyond simply comprehending the explicit meaning of words. At this stage, you're expected to grasp implied meanings, identify a speaker's attitude or opinion, understand complex arguments even when they're not explicitly structured, and follow extended lines of reasoning. Native speakers, in their natural conversations, employ a variety of linguistic features that can be challenging. They use a lot of connected speech, where words blend together like wanna for want to, gonna for going to, deja for did you. They often speak at a brisk pace, incorporate numerous idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs, and utilize intonation and stress to convey subtle nuances of meaning. For example, the stress on a single word can completely alter the implication of a sentence. Consider I didn't say he stole the money versus I didn't say he stole the money. The meaning shifts dramatically. Our practice today will address these very elements. I will be your primary speaker, but I will articulate and describe a series of hypothetical, engaging conversations, real-life discussions, and immersive storytelling scenarios effectively bringing these listening environments to life through my narration. This approach allows us to delve deeply into the nuances of specific language patterns, vocabulary choices, and communicative strategies that you would encounter in genuine, unscripted English audio. You'll be listening to me model advanced vocabulary, explain complex concepts, and guide you through the analytical process of understanding challenging spoken English, all within a continuous, podcast-style monologue designed to stretch your listening comprehension to its AC1 limits and beyond. Asterisk. Let's begin by immersing ourselves in a hypothetical scenario that encapsulates a common real-life discussion at an advanced level. Imagine a lively debate segment from a popular news podcast, featuring two prominent economists discussing the long-term implications of remote work on urban development. Our first speaker, Dr. Evelyn Reed, a leading urban planner, is arguing for a radical decentralization of cities. She might passionately declare, the era of the central business district as we know it is rapidly drawing to a close. We are witnessing a paradigm shift where professional hubs are disintegrating, giving way to a more equitable distribution of talent and infrastructure across suburban and even rural landscapes. Her voice might convey a sense of conviction, a forward-looking perspective. Now, our second speaker, Professor Liam O'Connell, a seasoned economic historian, offers a more tempered, cautionary stance. He might interject with, while the allure of remote work is undeniable, we must exercise caution against prognostications of urban demise. Cities have historically demonstrated an unparalleled resilience, and their continued gravitational pull as centers of innovation, culture, and social capital remains a formidable, if not insurmountable, force. Notice how their tones might differ. Dr. Reed's perhaps a bit faster, more assertive, while Professor O'Connell's might be more measured, slightly skeptical, emphasizing certain words to convey doubt or historical precedent. C1 listeners, your task isn't just to identify their main points. It's to understand their underlying assumptions, their use of rhetorical language, and the subtle ways they signal agreement or disagreement. You'd be listening for advanced vocabulary, decentralization, paradigm shift, disintegrating, equitable distribution, allure, prognostications, urban demise, unparalleled resilience, gravitational pull, social capital, formidable, insurmountable. You're training your ear to process these sophisticated terms instantly within the flow of a fast-paced intellectual debate. This involves not merely knowing the definition of each word, but comprehending their precise contextual meaning and the specific arguments they are being used to support. Asterisk. Let's delve into another type of engaging conversation that requires sharp C1 listening skills, a casual yet profound chat between two colleagues at a tech startup who are grappling with the pressures of rapid growth. Imagine Sarah, a project manager, feeling overwhelmed, confiding in her mentor, Ben, an experienced developer. Sarah might sigh. Honestly, the workload lately has been absolutely relentless. I feel like I'm constantly chasing my tail, and I'm on the verge of burnout. Her voice might be tinged with exhaustion. Ben, in a calm, empathetic tone, might respond, I hear you. Sarah, it's easy to get bogged down when you're in the eye of the storm. But remember, every cloud has a silver lining, and these challenges often forge resilience. You can't let it get the better of you. Here, the challenge for your ears lies in the natural speed, the idiomatic expressions, and the emotional undertones. Relentless conveys intensity. Chasing my tail signifies being busy but unproductive. Verge of burnout points to extreme exhaustion. Bogged down means to be stuck or delayed. Eye of the storm refers to being in the midst of a difficult situation. Every cloud has a silver lining is a classic idiom about finding good in bad situations. Forge resilience implies building strength through hardship. Get the better of you means to overcome or defeat you. Your brain, as an advanced listener, needs to process these as complete units of meaning, not just individual words. This is where your ear is truly trained. You're listening for the speaker's emotional state, inferring context from the use of idioms, and understanding how these seemingly casual phrases convey deep meaning. This kind of authentic dialogue is full of natural contractions. I'm instead of I am elisions gonna instead of going to, okay? And stress patterns that are crucial for accurate comprehension. Your goal is to not only understand what is being said, but also how it's being said, including the subtle vocal cues that reveal the speaker's true feelings and intentions. Asterisk. Now, how do we actively practice and integrate these challenging elements for English listening practice for fluency? One incredibly powerful technique is shadowing. Okay? This involves listening to a short segment of authentic English, perhaps from a podcast, an interview, or even a movie clip, and then immediately attempting to repeat exactly what you heard. Trying to mimic the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and even their pace as closely as possible. It's like being a vocal echo. Start with very short sentences or even just phrases. The aim isn't perfection, but to get your mouth and ears working in synchronicity. To literally feel the flow of native speech. When you shadow, you're not just passively listening. You're actively engaging your articulatory muscles and training your auditory processing speed. For instance, if you hear a speaker say, "It's an unprecedented opportunity to redefine our strategic imperatives," try to repeat that phrase back instantly, matching their emphasis on unprecedented or the slight pause before redefine. This exercise is phenomenal for improving your natural pronunciation and intonation because it forces you to internalize the rhythm and stress patterns of English, which are crucial for both listening and speaking fluency. It bridges the gap between comprehension and production. You're training your entire vocal apparatus to react naturally to the sounds of English, just as a native speaker does. I encourage you to find short, engaging clips, perhaps a 1-minute segment from a podcast like this one, or a captivating interview, and practice shadowing it repeatedly until you can mimic the speaker with reasonable accuracy. The immediate feedback loop of hearing your own voice attempt to match the native speakers is incredibly beneficial.
Let's transition to an example of immersive storytelling that demands C1 level listening. Imagine a segment from an audiobook or a narrative podcast that describes a historical event or a complex personal journey. Picture an eloquent narrator recounting the challenges faced by explorers during a perilous Arctic expedition in the early 20th century. The narrator might describe the biting wind, a relentless adversary, whipped across the barren expanse, carving intricate patterns in the drifts. Provisions were dwindling at an alarming rate, and the constant gnawing hunger became an unwavering companion. Their resolve, however, despite the insurmountable odds, remained unflinching. Here, the immersive quality comes from the descriptive vocabulary and the vivid imagery it conjures. Your ear needs to build that mental picture. Words like biting, relentless adversary, whipped across, barren expanse, carving intricate patterns, dwindling at an alarming rate, gnawing hunger, a unwavering companion, insurmountable odds, and unflinching resolve all contribute to the narrative's power. Your task as a C1 listener is to absorb these details, not just individually, but as part of a cohesive narrative. You're training your ear to process longer descriptive sentences, to understand the emotional landscape being painted by the narrator, and to appreciate the literary quality of the language. This type of listening practice is excellent for expanding your passive vocabulary, allowing you to recognize sophisticated words and phrases in context, even if you wouldn't necessarily use them in everyday conversation. It also helps you understand how intonation and pacing are used to build suspense, convey emotion, or emphasize key turning points in a story. A good narrator will use their voice to create atmosphere, and your ear needs to be sensitive to these vocal cues to fully appreciate the immersive storytelling aspect. Asterisk. One of the most effective ways to solidify new language from these listening experiences is to write down new vocabulary. This might seem like a simple step, but its power is often underestimated. When you're listening to a podcast or an interview, and you encounter a new word or expression, like paradigm shift or chasing your tail, don't just hope you'll remember it. Pause, if you can, and jot it down. Don't worry about perfect spelling initially. Just get the sound down phonetically if you need to, and then later, after the listening session, go back to your notes. Look up the words you wrote down. Crucially, don't just look up the definition. Look up its common collocations words it often appears with, its synonyms and antonyms, and most importantly, example sentences that show it being used in context. For instance, if you wrote down relentless, you might find it used with relentless pressure, relentless pursuit, or relentless effort. This contextual understanding is far more valuable than a simple definition. Try to use the new words in your own sentences. Even better, try to incorporate them into your own speaking practice or writing. The act of writing reinforces the memory, and the subsequent active research and application help move the vocabulary from your passive recognition to your active, productive vocabulary, which is essential for confidence in English speaking. This systematic approach to vocabulary acquisition is a hallmark of truly effective C1 learning. It's about building a robust and versatile lexical repertoire that you can access effortlessly. Asterisk. Let's imagine another scenario of real-life English conversations. One that often presents a significant challenge. A rapid-fire brainstorming session in a professional setting. Picture a marketing team trying to come up with a new campaign idea, bouncing ideas off each other at speed. One team member might blurt out, "Okay, so what if we pivot completely and target the Gen Z demographic? We could leverage social media, influencers to create some buzz. Maybe even go for something guerrilla marketing-esque." Another might immediately jump in. I'm not sure that aligns with our core brand values. We need something that resonates more broadly, something with mass appeal rather than just a niche strategy. The conversation is fast. There might be slight interruptions, and speakers might finish each other's sentences. Your ear needs to be incredibly agile to keep up. You're listening not just for the words, but for the underlying concepts being thrown around, the agreements and disagreements being subtly expressed. Vocabulary here might include pivot completely, leverage, social media influencers, buzz, guerrilla, marketing-esque, aligns with our core brand values, resonates. More broadly, mass appeal, niche strategy. Notice also the casual yet professional tone, the use of phrases like, "What if we, ... or "I'm not sure that ... These are authentic conversational patterns. Understanding such rapid exchanges requires your brain to process connected speech seamlessly. Phrases like, "What if we might sound like whiff we," and "not sure that might sound like not sure tha." These aren't just phonetic tricks. They are how native speakers actually articulate these common phrases. Your ear needs to be so accustomed to these fusions that they don't register as individual, separate words, but as unified sounds that represent the complete phrase. This kind of authentic, fast-paced dialogue is where true English listening practice for fluency comes into its own. A key, highly recommended strategy for improving your comprehension of these fast-paced, natural English conversations, especially when you're dealing with new content. To watch with subtitles first, then without. This approach is incredibly effective for bridging the gap between what you hear and what you understand. Find an engaging video, perhaps a documentary, an interview, or even a compelling TV show, and watch a short segment, say 5 to 10 minutes with English subtitles turned on. As you watch and listen, your brain makes connections between the spoken word and the written word. This helps you identify words you might not have recognized purely by sound, and it clarifies challenging phrases or complex sentences. Pay attention to how the spoken words match the written form, especially with connected speech or reductions. You'll start to notice how "I don't know" often looks like "I dunno" in conversation. Then, and this is the crucial step for C1 level improvement, rewatch the exact same segment immediately, but this time without any subtitles. You'll be amazed at how much more you understand. Your brain has already processed the content once, with visual support, and now it's relying purely on auditory input. This trains your ears to recognize those sounds without the crutch of text. Repeat this process with different segments, gradually increasing the length of the segments you watch without subtitles. This iterative process is phenomenal for improving your auditory processing speed and for building confidence in English speaking, because it directly targets your ability to understand unassisted speech. It's a structured way to confront the speed and naturalness of English and systematically overcome your comprehension barriers. Asterisk, let's focus more on natural pronunciation and intonation, which are absolutely pivotal for both understanding and being understood at a C1 level. Intonation refers to the rise and fall of your voice, and it carries significant meaning in English. For instance, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence typically indicates a question "you're coming," while a falling intonation signals a statement "you're coming." But it's more complex than that. Intonation can also express emotion. A flat, monotone intonation can convey boredom or lack of interest, whereas a varied, expressive intonation suggests engagement and enthusiasm. When listening, pay attention to where a speaker's voice rises or falls. Does it indicate uncertainty, emphasis, surprise, or completion? For example, if someone says, "That's amazing," with strong emphasis and rising intonation on amazing, it conveys genuine excitement. If they say it with a flat, falling intonation, it might be sarcastic. Your ear needs to discern these subtle vocal cues to fully grasp the speaker's message and their underlying feelings. Similarly, stress on specific words within a sentence is incredibly important. In English, content words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs are usually stressed, while function words, articles, prepositions, conjunctions are often unstressed and reduced. This creates the rhythmic da-dum-dum pattern of English. For example, in "I want to go to the park," the stress falls on want, go, and park. The other words are reduced. When you listen, identify where the speaker places emphasis. This emphasis often highlights the most important information or contrasts. If someone says, "I thought he was coming," stress on thought implies a change of mind or that the thought was mistaken. Mastering the perception of these stress patterns is key to unlocking the true meaning of rapid speech. It's about training your ear to hear the rhythm and melody of English, not just the individual notes. This is fundamental for improving your overall natural pronunciation and intonation, both as a listener and as a speaker, directly contributing to your confidence in English speaking.
This leads us to the final and perhaps most crucial strategy for C1 listening mastery. Listen regularly to improve your fluency. Consistency is paramount. Think of it like training for a marathon. You wouldn't expect to run 26 miles after just a few short jogs. Similarly, achieving native-like comprehension and fluency requires sustained, dedicated effort over time. Make English listening a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused listening every day is far more effective than one long, infrequent session. Vary your content. Listen to different accents, different genres, news, interviews, documentaries, storytelling, comedy, and different paces of speech. The more diverse your exposure, the more adaptable and resilient your ears will become. Don't be afraid to revisit material. Listening to the same podcast episode or video multiple times can yield new insights each time, allowing you to catch details, vocabulary, or nuances you missed previously. Each re-listen deepens your understanding and solidifies your learning. Actively apply the strategies we've discussed today. Practice shadowing key phrases to improve your output. Write down new vocabulary to expand your active lexicon. Watch with subtitles first, then without to bridge comprehension gaps, and consistently make listening a regular habit. The cumulative effect of these practices will be profound. You'll find yourself understanding complex conversations with greater ease, picking up on advanced vocabulary effortlessly, and eventually articulating your own thoughts with increased natural pronunciation and intonation, all of which culminates in genuine confidence in English speaking. Remember, every single minute you dedicate to this practice is an investment in your linguistic future. The ability to truly understand fast, natural English opens up a world of possibilities, access to vast amounts of information, deeper connections with native speakers, and enhanced professional opportunities. You are building not just language skills, but a more sophisticated understanding of global communication. The journey to C1 level advanced English. Listening is a testament to your dedication and intellectual ambition. It's about peeling back the layers of spoken English to grasp its full richness and complexity. You are moving beyond the foundational elements and diving into the subtle art of communication, where intonation, rhythm, and nuanced vocabulary convey as much meaning as the words themselves. By deliberately engaging with challenging content, by actively listening for implied meanings, and by practicing the techniques we've discussed. From shadowing to writing down new vocabulary and regularly immersing yourself, you are systematically training your brain and your ears to function at a native-like level. This commitment is what sets you apart as an advanced learner. You are building not just a skill, but a linguistic intuition that will serve you incredibly well in any English-speaking environment. Whether it's the academic rigor of an exam, the fast pace of a professional meeting, or the casual flow of a friendly chat, your enhanced listening abilities will empower you to participate fully and confidently. So, embrace the challenge, celebrate your progress, and remember that every moment of focused listening brings you closer to your goal of unparalleled fluency. I truly believe in your capacity to achieve this mastery. You've already taken the most important step by choosing to invest this hour in your learning. Keep that momentum, remain curious, and know that your efforts are genuinely making a significant difference in your English language proficiency. Asterisk, thank you so much for joining me today on Super English Talks for this C1 level advanced English listening practice. I truly hope this advanced English listening podcast has been incredibly beneficial for you, pushing your boundaries and providing actionable strategies. If you found this session valuable and engaging, please consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your fellow passionate English learners, and most importantly, subscribing to Super English Talks for an ongoing stream of high-quality, advanced English content. I always cherish your feedback and engagement, so please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. What were your biggest takeaways from today's session? What specific listening challenges are you currently facing? What other topics or types of listening practice would you like me to cover in future episodes? Your input is absolutely invaluable in helping me tailor content that precisely meets your learning needs. Until our next deep dive, keep listening intently, keep practicing diligently, and keep speaking English with unwavering confidence. See you very soon.